Here we are back in my wheelhouse now, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking Friday the 13th today, so you know I'm in a good mood. Everything we know so far about Crystal Lake, Bryan Fuller's Friday the 13th prequel series, which is headed to Peacock, courtesy of him who's the former showrunner of Hannibal, and from A24 Studios, which released the recent hit Megan, which I really want to see because I've heard nothing but good things and it looks great. Everyone remembers the sensation of fear coursing through their veins the first time they ever heard the ominous whispering of in Friday the 13th. This terrifying slasher from Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham spawned a massively popular franchise and inspired countless ripoffs, but few films can hold a candle to the unbridled terror found within the trees and cabins of Crystal Lake. Camp Crystal Lake, that is. Camp Crystal Lake, that is. Now, horror maven Bryan Fuller is taking us back to camp with the upcoming A24 prequel series, Crystal Lake. Yeah, I couldn't be more excited for this. It's been more than a decade since we've had any new Friday the 13th, and we all know the last installment was that Platinum Dunes Friday the 13th in name only, shall we say. The Friday the 13th franchise is comprised of 12 films, 3 seasons of a television series, which incidentally had nothing to do with Jason, novels, comic books, video games, and plenty of tie-in merchandise. And while prequel stories have been told in the novels and comics, Crystal Lake will be the first time we see the story of what came before Jason Voorhees' untimely death during summer camp on screen, fully fleshed out. While the series is still a ways away, there's still plenty of available information to help put the project on your radar. Here's everything we know so far about Crystal Lake. When and where to watch Crystal Lake. And to speak to the previous paragraph, it said this information will put this project on your radar. If you're a Friday the 13th fan or call yourself a Friday the 13th fan and this is not on your radar yet, what the hell are you doing with your life? This is news. This is like a junkie getting a fix because I have been fiending for this, man. This new Friday the 13th. But I don't want it to get the Star Wars treatment. You understand what I'm saying? I want this to be good. I want this to be done well. I want this to be done with care and the reverence and the love that this franchise deserves because it does have an ardent fan base of people like me who still love Jason Voorhees. Hell, like I said, you guys know I was Jason for Halloween this year. My new channel is called Camp Crystal Lake. It is... which will be, I keep saying it will be launching. I'm going to record the videos for that channel tomorrow. The first couple will be recorded for there. We'll release one this weekend and another one about 4 days after that. The videos are going to come in 4 to 5 day increments over there. No live streams, just videos. So that's what's going on over there. But when and where to watch Crystal Lake. So Crystal Lake was given a straight-to-series order for the NBC Universal streaming platform Peacock, but no anticipated release date or timeline has been made available. While the streamer still has a lot of ground to cover, if it wants to be competitive against folks like Netflix or Disney Plus, Peacock arguably boasts the strongest horror library outside of Shudder. And that's huge because horror is a massive genre with a lot of fans. And I don't just watch horror movies at Halloween. I watch horror movies all year long. So this is big. And I've noticed, I've been over there watching some of them. And the Friday the 13th movies are actually, oddly enough, they're on Stars, which is, like I said, it's just kind of weird. NBC Universal having a first look deal with Blumhouse means most of their releases end up on Peacock following the theatrical window, which has made the platform a haven for horror fans. I'm not much of a Blumhouse fan, I'm not going to lie. I think they make a lot of stupid decisions. This means Crystal Lake would live alongside another legacy horror series, Don Mancini's Chucky, as well as Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Girl in the Woods, Hammer House of Horror, Limetown, The Purge, Wolf Like Me, and the countless horror features currently available. Chucky, the first season was awesome. I really need to go back and catch the second season. That's another show. Didn't mean to, but just kind of fell out of it. What Crystal Lake will be about. This is where the fun begins. While plot details on Crystal Lake have been kept pretty tight, it's confirmed that the series will be an extended prequel to the events of the first Friday the 13th film. Bryan Fuller is a notorious Pamela Voorhees superfan.
Cloudy with a chance of superfan.
The ultimate superfan.
A notorious Pamela Voorhees superfan.
I'll believe that when my ship turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet.
Okay, I'm going to let that one go. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see where this goes. So there's little doubt in assuming that she'll be the focus of the new show. Okay. During a recent screening of Friday the 13th Part 3 in Los Angeles, Fuller appeared and answered some questions about the show. As reported by Eric Goldman, Fuller swerved slightly when asked about Pamela Voorhees and instead gave the very not breaking NDA answer of, "We're honestly going to be covering it all. The series is covering the life and times of these two characters. It's assumed that he's talking about Pamela and a young Jason Voorhees. But the deliberate phrasing of the course opens the floodgates to fan speculation." Fuller also noted he pitched 4 seasons of Crystal Lake, and while only 1 was officially ordered, he indicated Peacock would have to pay a penalty if they didn't order a second season. For those unaware, the rights to the Friday the 13th franchise were tied up in a legal battle between Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham for years, resulting in Miller obtaining the rights to the original film script and name, while Cunningham was given the rights to Jason as a character because the hockey mask wearing slasher we know and love doesn't appear in that form until Part 3. Perhaps the usage was contingent on at least 2 seasons. Of course, we're purely speculating here. Now to see that right there, we're going to go back up to this heading. What the show will be about. All right. This is where it kind of gets into the weeds and maybe gets a little bit dicey for me, because while I do want a little bit of the blanks filled in beforehand, I'm not. I mean, okay, so hypothetically speaking, more than 1 season of just Pamela Voorhees gonna be a little bit difficult to I mean, was she interesting? Yeah. Is she interesting? Yeah. But do I need like multiple seasons of just Pamela Voorhees? I don't know. I mean, and we've got all the things that went wrong at Camp Crystal Lake, from the water being poisoned to the fires that were mentioned in the other installments that kept the camp from opening. We could get some of that, which okay. Now, was I going into this thinking it was going to be Jason? No, obviously not, because it is a prequel series. Now, my naive optimism, which is bad at this age for this series, was that maybe, just maybe, there was an outside chance we'd go back and forth between a couple timelines and we'd see, fully grown Jason. But alas, that's why I'm writing a Friday the 13th movie, and which I'm working on. I'll be sending part of the script over to a good friend of mine for him to look over what I've got so far while I continue writing. But yeah, so this Cunningham had control of Jason while all the other stuff, but he said they can use anything under the sun with the franchise, meaning fully grown Jason, which would be phenomenal to see, but I don't think we will. I'm going to try to stay optimistic, though, as optimistic as possible. Crystal Lake is being written by Bryan Fuller, Hannibal, Pushing Daisies, Queer for Fear, the history of queer horror.
Horror interwoven with queerness.
The werewolf is the perfect allegory for coming out of the closet.
Oh, God. I think I just had an aneurysm. Okay. Fuller, who's also serving as showrunner and an executive producer. The original film screenwriter Victor Miller will also executive produce the series alongside Mark Toborov, Rob Barsamian, and A24. During the Friday the 13th Part 3 screening, Fuller announced that legendary slasher screenwriter Kevin Williamson, Scream, The Faculty, and Sick would be writing one of the episodes. In even more exciting news, Adrienne King, who played final girl Alice Hardy in the original film and the very opening minutes of Part 2, would appear in a recurring role. I like that. Adrienne King was great in the first movie. It was sad that they killed her off so quick in the second movie, but most of you may know, some of you may not if you're not as familiar with the franchise and some of the lore and the backstory of the characters and actors behind them that played them. Actress Adrienne King had a very serious stalker issue, and she faded out kind of and wanted to stay, away from the limelight, and that was why she was killed off so soon in the second movie. Let's see, as this is a prequel series, it's likely she'll be playing an entirely different role other than Alice, which makes sense because Alice is dead. Unless the series is being retold from her perspective as an adult, like the slasher version of Rose and Titanic. But as we said, she's dead, so she couldn't be retelling that beyond, like a month or two after the first movie, maybe a month it was. The project is also looking at two different scores, either the one that reflects the musical stylings of our current trends, which is garbage, or the classic one inspired by Harry Manfredini. That is how you score the show. We know which one we'd prefer, Manfredini obviously, but knowing the option even exists is worth getting excited over.
I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
So back to the top here in closing for this article and the information therein. I did not know about Fuller's, the queer side of horror project, whatever. I don't mean to come off obtuse about that, but given the trends of everything today and this seemingly odd necessity to overrepresent is hilarious. Like I said, and I've said this in many other videos, the alphabet community comprises less than 5% of our country's entire population. Yet they seem to think that they deserve 50% representation on screen according to GLAAD, which is basically a garbage tier organization. This is absolutely terrifying. We don't need to queer up the show. You don't need to do that. If there happens to be characters in the show that are written to be gay, lesbian, or bisexual, which are the only ones that matter, the only real ones, the rest of them are just make-believe bullshit, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. As long as the writing is good and it makes sense and they're not just there to check a box, which is the only reason I reacted the way I did when I read that, because normally when you read stuff like that, it would indicate that this showrunner, in this case Bryan Fuller, would do things simply to check boxes and for the non-existent modern audience that doesn't spend money but only exists on Twitter. So that was my apprehension level about that. Like I said, I don't mean to come off obtuse because I am optimistic about this show, but things like that kind of, present a crack in the armor, as it were. So I still am optimistic. I still think that, one season about Pamela and some other stuff moving forward, it can be good. It can be good. Fingers are crossed. It can be good. Because I want nothing more than Good Friday the 13th. But like I said, if you want something done right, sometimes you have to do it yourself, and that's why I'm writing a Friday the 13th movie. So leave your thoughts in the comments below. Are you still optimistic about this show? What do you think of Bryan Fuller's previous work? Do you think this show could work if they did 2 seasons of just Pamela leading up to the death of Jason? Do you think they're going to do a multiple timeline thing? At any point in the show, do you think we'll see a fully developed Jason? I want to know what you think. I want to know how big of a fan you are of Friday the 13th. All that in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, hit the button. It's free. Just hit the red button. Ding the bell for notifications so you know when we upload another video like this, or go live with one of our weekly live streams. 3 if you're a non-member. 5 if you're a channel member. That's right, 2 extra live stream after show on Monday night after Going in Raw, and Wednesday night after Holy Shit News. We offer a lot here at the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Check the perks on the main channel page under the membership tab. I'm Etepo Queen from The Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all these. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all.
This doesn't bode well.
You're lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
please. It's a waste of good suffering.